What up, everybody? It's George Langenbeer with Silverhammer Surveillance. Time for another Shoplifter story, but this intro is going to be a little bit different. We are at Shopko Store 56 in Omaha, Nebraska, 144th and Center. A little different today because the wife is my photographer, and it just so happens to be our 16th year wedding anniversary. So why that's important is because she was my store manager. She hired me at Shopko. So none of these stories would even happen if she wouldn't have gotten me into the loss prevention game in the first place. So kind of cool that we're doing this today on our anniversary. Also, she worked at Shopko since when? 1988. Worked her way up, had a corporate gig for a while, then did a regional HR thing. But then when Shopko decided to close, she came back to the store and finished her career back at her roots. Closed it out at this store right behind us. So kind of fitting that we're here today. Anniversary store that she finished out the career at. So kind of cool. So anyway, let's get to the stories. Here we go. All right, so here we are at Shopko Store 56. What was Shopko Store 56 anyway. So sad to see it like this, but many good times here. And a couple of the crazy stories that happened here. Number one, my daughter's our second photographer today. There was a time where I stopped these three ladies. I've talked about this before, where the crazy stuff always happens at the end of your shift. Well, these ladies stole a bunch of apparel, loaded up a purse, and it was my daughter's birthday. And I've never once been late to any daughter event, birthday or otherwise, and these ladies made me late. And it was probably the most unprofessional I've ever been in the way I talked to these women. I felt bad after the fact, but I made them cry. It was just horrible. I mean, I was really mad that they made me late for Delaney's birthday. So that's one thing that sticks out. Number two, we had a guy here stole a bunch of Star Trek DVDs. You know, sometimes, no offense to the Trekkies out there, but you stop a guy with Star Trek, they're usually pretty nice people. The Trekkies are pretty nice. This guy looked nice, very large man, bigger than me. We went to stop him. And this man, I don't know if he was on PCP or what it was, but he took me from one entrance to the other in the fight. And basically, he just kept walking. No matter how much I tried to take him down, I'm actually jumping on his back like something you'd see out of a movie. And he's just carrying me, and I'm not a small guy. So I don't know what he was on, but he dragged me from one entrance to the other. And luckily, this off-duty police officer just came out of nowhere. He was in there shopping, and he just slid under his legs. And then we all toppled down on him, and we got him. We got him in the office, and he did end up being a very nice Trekkie. Very nice guy. He just didn't want to come with us. And I don't know whatever drugs he was on just kind of prevented him from coming in at first. But eventually he did. All right. Then another LP that worked for me. You know who you are. We're here. We're stopping these people. They tried to write a bad check. It was a man and a woman, a couple. They went to leave the store. And the dude immediately started running, and I started chasing him. And my boy, Jason, stayed back behind with the woman. Man, I chased this guy for blocks through this neighborhood over here. And I shouldn't have been doing that, but it is what it is. So I was chasing him. I lost him. Finally, some police officers ended up finding him in the neighborhood. But I had come back here to poor Jason, who was in the office. And all I remember about this woman is that I ended up seeing the video from the office where Jason was dealing with her, and poor Jason was exposed to one of the worst flashings of private parts that I've ever seen. It's just a very unfortunate incident, and I'm sure Jason would tell you how unfortunate it was. So, poor Jason. Sorry. Wish I would have got my guy, but Jason did get her. So, I don't know if it was worth it or not, but yeah. All right, then I also just remember this was just a quirky one. On Thanksgiving, I stopped this woman that had a bird on her shoulder, little, I don't know what it was, a parakeet or whatever it was. But I stopped her, and she stole one little cosmetic item, and I remember she was from Oklahoma. It was Thanksgiving, and she didn't have her ID on her. So number one, when you're from out of state, and number two, you don't have ID, unfortunately, no matter what you steal, you go to jail. So I sent this poor woman to jail with a bird. And I just felt kind of bad about it because it was Thanksgiving and I took her away from her family. But she shouldn't have stole that cosmetic item. I don't know what the hell the bird was all about. Okay, and then one of the more memorable stories, and this just was a really stupid bust that got really memorable for weird reasons. But I was watching these two dudes, and they came in and they both grabbed a beverage. Now I'm gonna preface this story by saying, if you ever go to a convenience store and you fill up a fountain drink and you start drinking it before you pay, you're pissing me off. You're drinking it before you paid for it, and that upsets me. And a lot of people give me crap about that, but man, that's one of my big pet peeves. Don't drink your fountain drink until it's paid for. Anyway, I'm at this store. Two guys walk in. They both grab a pop, and they're walking around. One of them starts drinking about half the bottle, and then he sets it down. The dude's got two popped collar shirts on, really preppy little dude. And so he takes one of them off and puts it over his shoulder, and they walk around the store. The other guy never opened his pop and set it down, but the guy I was focused on did drink half the bottle. Now that's consuming our merchandise. He might have not have walked out with it, but it was in his belly, damn it. And, you know, people give me crap about the pop bust. Well, people, and even the vice president of loss prevention, which I'll talk about in a second. But anyway, this guy goes to leave, and I stop him. I bring him in the office, and I'm busting him for this pop. Now, he claims that he spilled some of the pop on his shirt, and that he was going out to change his shirt, which I knew was BS because the dude had two shirts on, and the one underneath the first one was fine. He didn't need to go outside and change his shirt. He was just lying. Now, this kid was like just at the age where he basically, I think he was 16. So we were just at the age where we had to get his parents involved. His mom was with him. They were separated when he did this pop drinking, but she ended up coming back to the office with him. We get him in the office, and the mom is just completely upset that I got this guy in there for a pop. Turns out the kid was going to law school, and mom was telling me that I was ruining his life because he wasn't going to be able to go to law school because of this arrest. And I'm sorry, ma'am. He drank our beverage. He consumed our beverage. That's stealing. Now he's in here. I have to pursue it, so I have to call the police. She's freaking out, so she calls Dad. Dad wasn't at the store. Dad was at home. She calls Dad. Dad shows up before the cop does, and Dad has a gun on his hip in a holster. And he starts to tell me that he used to be at the police academy. He never said he was an actual cop. He just said he went through the police academy. I don't know what that means. I guess it means he didn't make it through. But anyway, he started throwing this word around, and I don't remember if it was discretion or what it was, but I just remember he kept saying the same word over and over again. Like I had the decision to let this kid go or to keep prosecuting him. And I was trying to tell Dad, you know, once I get him in my office, I have to prosecute. I have no choice. So he puts his hand on the gun like he's going to shoot me. And I started laughing at him. I was like, dude, you're not going to shoot me because your son stole pop with your son watching. I mean, you talk about ruining going to law school. I dare you to just try to pull that gun. So, of course, he didn't. He was just trying to be an asshole. And so all of a sudden, the cop finally comes. And thank God the cop was a former drill instructor and kind of a prick. And I was really glad it was him because, man, when he saw this guy with the gun, he laid into that dude and then, of course, cited him for threatening me with the gun. I decided not to pursue that hardcore because I knew he was just full of hot air. But I got the right cop because that cop just laid into him like a drill instructor would a recruit. And anyway, we prosecuted him. We arrested the kid. But then the family decided to try to sue Shopko, which is just ridiculous. But they actually went to the corporate office, tried to sue Shopko. So one of the more interesting anecdotes from the situation is I actually got a call from the vice president of loss prevention, and she was a badass herself. And she called me and she's like, George, I want you to know we have your back. We've watched this video. He stole it, but I swear to God, if you ever bust somebody for a pop again, I'm going to personally come kick your ass. And for anybody that worked at Shopko that knows who I'm talking about, you could imagine her saying that. And for the vice president of loss prevention to say it, I kind of took it to heart. And I never busted somebody for a pop again. Yeah, so that was a very memorable story. Enough memorable stories at this store that I'm going to put this in a two-part video. So there'll be a second video coming. So please check out the next video. Hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, and stay tuned for part 2. Until then, peace and love.